Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Thank you for all your support. And I just wanted to give extra thanks for giving me your most precious and valuable currency, which is your energy. Thank you to all those that have subscribed, commented, liked, shared, etc. New and old, everybody that's been here for several months now. Today I'm going to do a general Aries to Pisces, and we're going to go ahead and pull a card for each sign. This will be your sun, moon, and rising, okay? From the Santa Muerte Oracle, and we'll just get some guidance regarding that, okay? So go ahead and check all those placements to see what will resonate at this time for you. No matter when you see it, this is timeless, okay? Take what resonates and leave the rest. Another good opportunity for me to really learn this deck. All right, so I'll go ahead and put the timestamps in the description box. All right, Aries, sun, moon, rising. Spirit, what guidance do you have for Aries at this time, please? Thank you. All right. This is number 8. 8 might be significant to you at this time. Okay, good. It looks good. This, I believe, is the light card, number 8. Let me see here. All right, yes. 8, light. The first world of emanations comes to an end with this card. This card represents the entrance point through which creation can manifest itself in the world. It encompasses potential and purity without limitations of shape, capable of illuminating and feeding anything it comes into contact with like a sun, with generosity and vitality. The advice of the dead: a source of pure energy feeds and lights your journey. Proceed in your projects without hesitation. Any shadow will be dispelled. So you have the light to continue forward with whatever projects you're doing at this time, okay? You've got the go-ahead from the universe. All right, there you go. All right, Taurus, Spirit, what guidance do you have for Taurus, Sun, and Rising at this time? Please and thank you. All right, you have card number 15. Let me see who that is. That is Tlazolteotl, Mother Goddess of Earth and Sex and of the Moon and of Birth, connected to the 2nd and 7th cards of this deck. The complementary primary impulses of masculine and feminine, okay, which can only bring forth descendants by cooperating. So that's your combination of your masculine and your feminine energies here. And this deity assists you now, okay? Benevolent protector of fertility, we see her devouring a malevolent centipede, for she was also seen as a purifying goddess to whom people confess their sins, which she purified by devouring them. The advice of the dead: trust your intuition, but first accept and admit your defaults to yourself. Only in this way can your journey be prolific, rich, and unobscured by your ego. So it's all about processing both the dense and light energy for yourself with a balance to masculine and feminine energies, okay? All right. So that's some good confirmation. Maybe you're working on that currently. All right. All right, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising. Spirit, what guidance do you have for Gemini at this current time? Let me see this video. Insight, confirmation, guidance, please and thank you. All right, you actually have 2 cards, and the one that face up first, we'll go with that. First is number 14. Which deity is that? Ooh, that is Chalchilwitque, goddess of all the waters, lakes, seas, and sailors, as well as the goddess of beauty and fertility. She reminds us of how development and progress can only be possible if we view life as a benevolent river, a moving event, and not as something static. The flow expressed by love, which, if understood and allowed to run, allows Chalchiluikwe, to bring beauty and ardor instead of lightning and storms. The advice of the dead: do not fight against the flow you are in. A river cannot be tamed with force. You must surrender to its current and use its strength as if it were your own. And your second card that popped out is number 5. I'm trying to remember which one that is. Number 5 is Will. Okay. This extremely dynamic card represents the flame that burns in each of us and that pushes us to act according to our nature, that which we truly are, our identity. When it is guided by love, it becomes an unstoppable force that puts us into the right rapport with the universe. If, however, it is guided by egotism and meanness, it becomes a violent and dangerous instrument. If it is ignored, blocked, or slowed, it becomes a reason for deadlock and frustration. The advice of the dead: proceed toward what you desire without fear. Trust in what you have learned and accumulated until now without hesitation. So again, going with the flow here. Just follow your heart. Make those heart-centered decisions, okay? Aim for love, and whatever you are hoping for at this time, just keep working towards it, and then just trust the universe, okay? All right, there you go. All right, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, Spirit, guidance here for Cancer at this time, please and thank you. Let's do one more shuffle. Whatever comes out. Thank you. All right. You have number 7. This is feminine. So this will be about your feminine energy. All right. While the masculine presented us with a primordial, active, and creative impulse that still has no form or direction, this card is complementary to it, a receptive and feminine basis, which, like a womb or cocoon, envelops the primitive energy, disciplines it, and stabilizes it by giving it a shape. This shape will consent its growth and evolution, but will inevitably give it mortality. The advice of the dead: take the necessary time to study and meditate before executing your project, perhaps asking a feminine or maternal figure for advice. So there may be some clue there. If you're stuck on something, there might be a feminine energy around you that could assist, okay? There you go. All right, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, Spirit, what guidance do you have for our Leos at this time? And whenever they see this video, please and thank you. And send to Muerte, more Oracle. All right, you have card number 22. That number may be significant. That is a master number. I believe that is intellect. So matters of the mind. Where are you? There you are. The archetype of order seen by the 6th card in this deck can be expressed on the formation plane by human intellect. Here is the birthplace of language, the world of ideas, knowledge, where communication takes place and culture is generated. So those might be clues to what's going on in your situation this time if you need direction. Perhaps something having to do with language or ideas or knowledge or culture or communication, okay? The intellect, much like the Solve, referred to the god Miktan Tekutli, can, with its cutting action, analyze, fragment, then recompose in a form of final synthesis. It directs and controls, but for this very reason, it can become an obstacle for expansion and dynamism. The advice of the dead: put instinct aside for the moment and analyze the situation you are in rationally, okay? So, I would also go follow your other placement since it did refer to the god Mictlantecuhtli, and he may pop up in one of the other signs. It's entirely possible. All right, there you go. Hopefully that helps. Bye. All right, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. Spirit, what guidance do you have for Virgos at this time, please and thank you? Oh, you've got 2, and it looks like you got one that Leo just got. No, who got this one? Oh, Gemini, I think, got this one. Number 7, feminine. Okay. You actually have 2 here, so we'll start with that one. You may want to go check Gemini if it's one of your other placements, okay? While the masculine presented us with a primordial, active, and creative impulse that still has no form or direction, this card is complementary to it. A receptive and feminine basis which, like a womb or cocoon, envelops the primitive energy, disciplines it, and stabilizes it by giving it a shape. This shape will consent its growth and evolution, but it will inevitably give it mortality. The advice of the dead: take the necessary time to study and meditate before executing your project. Perhaps ask a feminine or maternal figure for advice, okay? And if you have Gemini somewhere in your chart, that may indicate as to what, okay? You also have number 6, okay? Number 6 is order. This card represents the basic impulse with which all things are organized and organized according to determined principles and structures. Atoms organize themselves into molecules, just as neurons in the nervous system, giving life to that which will become conscience and awareness in living beings. By following this principle, structures begin to differentiate from one another in the primordial soup of chaos. And although they are primitive, they will develop into more evolved and specific phenomena, thus giving that shape, right, that the feminine was talking about. The advice of the dead: learn to organize your ideas, but also to have the courage to abandon them, if necessary, to not remain trapped in them, okay? So, and if you need guidance regarding that, talk to a feminine energy in your life, all right? There you go. Have a good one. All right, Libra. Make some space here. Spirit, what guidance do you have for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising at this time? Thank you. All right, you have, oh, I know which one this is. You have card number 25. Breaks down to a 7. It's the birth card. You see Santa Muerte there being nicely pregnant, ready to give life to this couple. Okay. All right. The material world of actions opens with birth, of course. The preceding levels, emanation, creation, and formation, have finally conglomerated, giving birth to matter and to the phenomenal world in which the actions of man take place. We pass the black veil that separates us from the higher and more abstract levels. We descend a staircase, becoming more and more aware of ourselves and of Santa Mother Muerte that gives us our time. In fact, every mother is a giver of death, because being tied to a form is what makes us mortal. But without her, we could not exist as individuals. We could not smile, cry, evolve, create a family, or build a home. The advice of the dead: it is time to act and begin the work you must bring into the world, as your potential is at its highest and is simply waiting to come to light. So, whatever idea or thing or project, birth it. Right, there you go, Libra. All right, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising. Spirit, what guidance do you have for our Scorpios at this time, please? And thank you. All right, you got 2 cards. Nice. We'll go at the top first. First one out is number 3. Number 3. I'm trying to remember which one that is. Chaos. This card represents the shapeless primordial soup, the alchemist's receptacle, the palette held by the artist before he starts painting, as shown in the art card. Technical ability and knowledge are ready and abundant, but the final execution and right route are needed to avoid dispersion. Without quick and aware action, you face the risk of drifting away, feeding entropy, or remain trapped in a stalled situation. The advice of the dead: it is time for action. Analyze and choose all the opportunities available to you quickly without fear of cutting something out. So whatever it is you're feeling the impulse to go do, go work on it, right? Your second card out is number 10. Who are you? I think that may be, oh, here we go. Mictlan Mictlantecuhtli. I'm going to say that again. Oh, goodness. Mictlantecuhtli, the king of the dead and the afterlife, ruler of the deepest part of the underworld, along with his wife, Mictlantecuhtli. He forms the binary and complementary opposition of disintegration of bodies and matter. We see him devouring a body, for rupture and fading are the starting point for any successive work of creation or regeneration. He is the alchemic solvay to separate, the analysis before synthesis, the phoenix that dies and turns to ashes before rebirth. The advice of the dead: it's time to look at the situation from a more in-depth point of view, to analyze the circumstances before putting the pieces back together. So it sounds like whatever project you need to get moving and grooving on might need to be taken apart real quick just to be put back together, right? Just so you can see if there's anything that needs to be resituated, recalibrated, reorganized, improved upon. Maybe there's an individual piece in there that needs a little extra work, right? And you can't see it with all the pieces together, but if you take it apart real quick, then you can go and say, oh, well, this puzzle piece needs a little filing down. It's a little rough around the edges, okay? I do believe that either Leo or Virgo referenced the god, okay? So that may be somewhere in your chart. You might want to go check that out, okay? There you go, Scorpio. Have a good one. All right, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Spirit. What guidance do you have for Sagittarius at this time? Sun, Moon, Rising. Please and thank you. All right, that was quick. All right. Number 17. If I recall, I think this is Shadow. Let me see here. Starting out the world of formations in this deck, okay? Number 17, Shadow. The level of formation begins with shadow, as if in a reflection of what comes from above, from the darkness. The shadow represents our occult unconscious, that which silently suggests that we do not perceive and do not know how to listen to, but that inevitably influences our thoughts, our emotions, and then on a material plane, our actions. When we are not acquainted with it, we project it externally as a negative component. Thus, we can do nothing but see in binary terms of good and evil, white and black. The advice of the dead: it is important to start analyzing yourself to gain greater awareness of yourself and your relationship to others. Otherwise, it will be impossible to change and evolve. So what I'm getting from this is that maybe it's time to start going within, right? To really look transparently through any tangible circumstance to really see what really is seeming to be negative is really just a projection, right? Okay? And then you can kind of really identify what the source of the issue really is and then learn to heal that, okay? Shadows are important. This is all about your shadow work, okay? And there's lots of ways to go do it. If you're a journaler, there's shadow work journals you can have. You could talk to a therapist regarding that if that's a route you want to go. If you happen to be a little bit more claircognizant, journaling is also good for that as well. But there's a myriad of meditations and all different kinds, sound healing, I mean, you name it. And there's also just meditative practice as well as creative pursuits as well, okay? So that might be something to explore at this time, or maybe this is just confirmation that's what you've been working on, all right? And to keep on keeping on, all right? There you go, Sagittarius. Have a good one. All right, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Spirit. What guidance do you have for Capricorn at this time? Insight, confirmation, etc. Thank you. That was quick. We have card number 20. Still getting familiar with this deck. All right, 20. Fraternity. Okay, so there's some togetherness, some collab perhaps, some solidarity. All right. No true evolution or progress is possible if we consider ourselves to be isolated from the world. So this is a hint, hint, nudge, nudge to get out, be social, right? Okay. If you've been in hermit mode, maybe it's time to come on out. This card encourages us to do any spiritual and subsequent material work in a state of solidarity and trust towards others. So, in other words, soul tribe, go find them. The primordial concept expressed by love must sediment in our minds so as to bloom and lead us to collaborate with others for a greater good. The advice of the dead: approach your work and your actions in a state of socialness and solidarity, perhaps starting collaborations with those you trust. There you go, Capricorn. I love it. Okay. Go follow some of your other placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, okay? Or anything high aspected, especially having to do with soul work of sorts, because this does hint at that kind of thing. So, perhaps Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, North Node, okay? Just start there and go from there, okay? All right. Bye. All right, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Spirit, what guidance do you have for Aquarius at this time? Please and thank you. One more. Still amazed at these cards. They are stunningly gorgeous. Use of color. Wow. All right, thank you, Spirit. Nice. A couple other signs got this card. It's number 7, Feminine. Gemini, I believe, got it, and I think also Virgo or Libra, perhaps, okay? Those may be significant placements to you at this time with regards where to place this energy, right? 7, Feminine. While the masculine card presented us with a primordial, active, and creative impulse that still has no form or direction, this card is complementary to it. A receptive and feminine basis which, like a womb or cocoon, envelops the primitive energy, disciplines it, and stabilizes it by giving it a shape. So kind of root chakra, sacral chakra kind of stuff, right? This shape will consent its growth and evolution, but will inevitably give it mortality. Take the necessary time to study and meditate before executing your project. Perhaps, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, ask a feminine or maternal figure for advice, okay? Now, of course, your feminine may be a masculine. This could be energetic for you, okay? So whatever project you're working on, if it's a spiritual project, perhaps any feminine energy, like divine feminine, right? If it's more tangible, maybe a literal feminine, like a gender feminine, okay? All right, there you go. All right, Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising. Spirit, what guidance do you have for Pisces at this time? Please and thank you. One more. All right, that was a mess. All right, we're going to do all 4 because 4 popped out. Spirit's really like, this is it. Only one to do this. Okay. First one that popped up, face, is number 22, intellect. And I forget which sign got that. It's either Cancer or Leo. All right, so you might want to follow some of your other the Sun, Moon, Rising, whichever, okay? Number 22, intellect. The archetype of order seen by the 6th card can be expressed on the formation plane by human intellect. Here is the birthplace of language, the world of ideas, knowledge, communication, and culture is generated. So maybe there's areas that you're working on with regards to those 4, okay? Anyone. The intellect, much like the Salve, referred to the god Mictlan Tecuhtli, who has been mentioned by quite a few signs already, can, with its cutting action, analyze, fragment, then recompose in a form of final synthesis. It directs and controls, but for this very reason, it can become an obstacle for expansion and dynamism. So in other words, it's okay to go ahead and analyze stuff, just not get too much into it, right? Like, don't let it get in the way, right? The advice of the dead: put instinct aside for the moment and analyze the situation you are in rationally, okay? The next card to come out is number 26, work. I know that one. So whatever this is, you're going to have to work through it, okay? This card represents the practical act after the spark lit by the previous card, birth. With awareness, we descend a second staircase to bring our act into the universe. Through constant work on ourselves, we build our future step by step, brick by brick, and we sow seeds for the harvest and for the following staircases to ascend. The advice of the dead: proceed courageously without hesitation, working with constancy on the basis of your work. And number 27 is harvest. All right. After an intense and energetic phase of work, it is time to harvest what you have produced. If your work was in harmony with the higher forces represented by the cards of the higher levels, such as love, fraternity, flow, or if it was in direct contact with your will, the results will be intense and speedy. If, however, your action was obscured or corrupted in some way, you will have to have the courage to grasp the sickle and cut away that which is superfluous to start again, without fear of failure and learning from your mistakes. The advice of the dead: you have not yet reached your final realization, but the results are coming, so persevere and continue in your work. And last is number 15. Hold a second, I believe that is a god. Yes, it's a goddess. Tlazolteotl is her name. Mother goddess of the earth, of sex, of the moon, and of birth. Connected to the second and seventh cards, the complementary primary impulses of masculine and feminine. So she's like an embodiment of the balance between the two energies. There we go. Which can only bring forth descendants by cooperating. Benevolent protector of fertility, we see her devouring a malevolent centipede, for she was also seen as a purifying goddess to whom people confess their sins, which she purified by devouring them. So just like in the harvest card, if there's things that the sickle needs to cut down, right, that are superfluous, she's here to assist you, okay? You've got some divine help from one of our many amazing ascended masters, okay? And just kind of follow her guidance on this one, all right? She will devour whatever needs to be devoured like a centipede, right? The advice of the dead: trust your intuition, but first accept and admit your defaults to yourself. Only in this way can your journey be prolific, rich, and unobscured by your ego, okay? You definitely have that balance of the masculine and feminine energies to also consider as well, okay? Just sort of take a balanced approach to things, okay? There you go. Have a good one. Bye.